and you can't do better than that. And in the past, in the relationships that you were in, you used to really invest quite a lot. We are pega, we are cleaner, all these things. All of y'all who are into recreational dating, you should be stopping that. However, let me continue to use this as an analogy. Next time you date the kind of guy osnang taba for your cooking, osnang taba, even though you work like you're like basically a domestic goddess, and he still treats you like trash, he still does not appreciate, he keeps on saying that your food is too salty. Next relationship that you get into with the exact same guy, a guy of that type of nature, this time you ain't gonna be cooking. This time you're just gonna be gathering dust, rocking up and just to do the dirty and move on, because you remember how you would put in all this time and nothing gave. If anything, you just kept on getting hurt, and somebody throwing your food back in your face, telling you that are too salty type setup thing. So now you are that slay queen. You've literally become a slay queen that just expects nothing but money from a guy, because investing all this effort does nothing at all. That's what ruins people actually in relationships. That's why you shouldn't just date from pillar to post mahalanje. The same thing also applies in jobs, where it is that you start out at the beginning of your career very excited, happy to push and strive to get your promotion, but then your job keeps on sabotaging what you're doing. Everything falls apart. You can't get a better job. Nothing you do works. So now you're not gonna strive as much as you've been striving, because you're trying to achieve something by striving. You want a reward at the end of the day, but when there is no reward but punishment, or just a flat line and just mediocre, everything is just average every single day, you will do just enough. You will do just enough. That's what happened with me as well. At MTN, when I first started out, I initially interviewed for a project management job, because I came from the previous job that I was at as a PM, but I was an intern PM there. And they said I didn't have enough experience, but let me work for MTN for a couple of months, and then they will see if I'm any good, and then they will promote me to project manager. It took 2 years for them to get to that place. So I started out flying like a bird, but somewhere along the way, I was like, Labantu batalangam, and I did just enough. I was annoyed. The only thing that got me out of the complacency of doing just enough, even though I started out really flying, was a program manager, a project manager that got promoted to program manager, and then in being promoted to program manager, asked the program coordinators to do something. And for some strange reason, I think it was the Holy Spirit, even though I wasn't even born again at the time, I made a decision to give my all to this assignment that this program manager had asked for. And after giving my all, he was like, Arao, I really like what you did over there, and I'm looking to recruit a junior project manager, a startup project manager in my department. I want you to apply for that particular job when it becomes available on the intranet. I was like, whoa! And so I started to work really hard again, because somebody noticed what I was doing. So the reward that I gained for hard work made me work even harder. It restarted my engine. The disappointment of not getting what I wanted slowed me down. So witches put people in a position to not get recognized for the good work they put in, and so it slows them down, and so puts them in a category of those people in the parable of the talents. Do you understand? That bury their talent in the ground. You have a girth of giftedness, but you put in just enough, mediocre, because nobody is even trying to say thank you. And witches make people ungrateful for your hard work. They make people not care how much effort you're putting in. I have seen it even happening in myself, Mohai, where my mom has reduced me to a domestic servant back when I was still employed and everything was thriving. And however, I had moved back to my mom's house, I would gladly offer her a cup of tea when I was back from work, gladly wash all the dishes, gladly do everything she wanted me to do, be her runner girl, go wherever she wanted me to go for her, and I wouldn't complain, because I was rewarded by, I guess, thank you, gratitude, and a whole life that was thriving. Now, in the sorrow that I am in, I am grumbling through everything I gotta do. It's not that I can't stand washing dishes. I am one of those people that don't mind uklina. Kodwa, now my heart, I'm bitter in my spirit, and so I do just enough. When they're not here on the weekend and leaving me to clean the house by myself, garoba, I cheat. Do you understand? I don't sparkle every tap. I don't mop every nook and cranny. I don't bring the bleach to every spot, due to the fact that you have made me a servant. And on top of that, I don't even get told thank you, because apparently this is what I'm supposed to do. So I do just enough. I'm sinning against God, because he said, whatever you do, work heartily as unto the Lord. Yet I grumble in that state because I can't help it. Offenses are coming to me, the Lord has said. But woe to the man or woman through whom those offenses come. Karabo, you've offended me by being lazy in cleaning the house, because you are supposed to turn the other cheek. But woe to your mother who put you in a position to not properly clean the bathroom tap, because you would have been glad to clean it for 2 hours to get every last stain on it, because that's how you generally work. But she has reduced your work ethic. She has made you lazy in this regard. She's made me a slothful servant in that regard. So woe to the one through whom those offenses come. It would be better if a millstone were to be tied around her neck and for her to be thrown into the ocean than for her to face God in the judgment, because she made me not work heartily as unto the Lord. And now there's a whole pile of people trying to force me to stop uploading on YouTube, to stop the work I'm doing. They keep on inebriating me with sorcery by discouraging me, by stealing my prosperity with YouTube views, stealing my prosperity with TikTok followers, stealing my prosperity so I will do less work. Except without this work, I die. The only thing, frankly, that's keeping me going is the fact that if I don't continue to do this work, I will be so miserable and so depressed that I will literally ideate suicide. So my motivator is a negative one. Negative reinforcement keeps me working, because the consequences of doing nothing because it bears no fruit are so severe that I can never do that. But if it was not for that negative reinforcement, if I had, for instance, desires to start a YouTube channel because I had these gifts and talents to thrive a channel, and then it went nowhere because someone has bewitched my prosperity on YouTube, and I downed tools on that gift to bake, you must understand that the Lord God Almighty would pick a bone with the witch that cast a spell to make me lazy to continue chiseling my talent. The covetousness of talents has made people make other people down tools on their talents. So you covet Garabo's singing ability, and then you say that Garabo will never sing again. The Lord God Almighty will have nothing to do with that, because he's the one that gave Garabo pipes. So when then she no longer uses them and they get all rusty, when she gets to heaven at the bema seat, God is going to be like, I gave you a gift to worship me in song, and you did not worship me. That was problematic and it was offensive. But woe to that witch who bewitched you to a point where you thought you couldn't sing because nobody was watching your covers on YouTube. Woe to the person who took away your ability, and not your ability, but your use of the ability that I gave you. Witches make people lazy. In and of themselves, later on, they become lazy because they get rewarded for doing nothing. So it's positive reinforcement unto laziness. In the run-up to acquiring everybody's gifts and talents, they make the earth lazy. They take that chartered accountant sitting in a freaking call center and make them not even try hard, even in that call center job. Because what am I doing with the whole degree sitting at call center? What am I doing at a call center? What am I doing here? So they will literally do just enough. It demotivates people, and it also takes people away from their core talents, that which they ought be doing. They're not doing it because they are literally blocked from doing it. So when you keep people unemployed or you throw them in the wrong industries, you are taking away their talents. You are making them not use their talents. You're making them bury their talent in the ground. These people have got a responsibility to read the scriptures and keep using that talent. So the accountant at the call center must keep applying, must keep trying to get out, even if it takes 10 years, because it is unacceptable in the sight of God for him to give up. But woe to the witch that blocked them from getting an internship at KPMG or at PricewaterhouseCoopers to ultimately become a CFA or ultimately become a chartered accountant. Woe to the person that blocked them. Woe to the person that made them take 10 years. And if at all they prosper to conquer defeat to a point of downing tools on their dreams, the Lord will bless them 100-fold over that which they have lost. He will give them what eye did not see, nor ear heard, nor mind conceived, what it is that the Lord has prepared for them since they waited on him. But to those who give up en route too, the Lord has mercy on them too and gives them justice by giving judgment to the one through whom the offenses came. But in and of themselves, they're going to have to account to God for why they did not use their gifts to the end. That's why you got to count the cost of being a disciple. That's why you have got to read the Bible. That is why you have to understand how to deal with suffering in patience. You cannot abandon your gift. You cannot let it go at the door. You have got to make 2 extra talents from the 2 that you have got. And you've got to make 5 extra talents from the 5 that God gave you. And guess what also happens to the slothful servant? The Lord gives their 1 talent that they buried in the ground to the guy with the 5 talents. So when you keep on striving and working for God, you not only gain a return on your investment that is 100% over, but you also get given other talents that you never ever had. You get given more. And that which the person that buried their talent in the ground had, even that will be taken away from them. So what happens with witches in the end is that they start out being able to sing really well, and then next thing they can't even hit a note. They start out being really good with numbers. Next thing they can't even do the 5 times table. They start out being really good at problem solving. Next thing they can't even put their words together in a sentence that is coherent. They lose so much in the end. And the thing that also busts them, exposes them, is the fact that they're not even as good as most people around them, and yet they keep on getting promoted. They end up being so lackluster and mediocre in what it is that they do, that they get caught for that. And it is their mediocrity that then hands their faces into them. They end up mediocre even though they started out really good at what they did. They started out excellent because they used to work hard. But witchcraft made them lazy. It enforced behavior of getting stuff without doing anything. And then that caught up with them because truly skilled people around them that were disregarded in favor of them start to gnash their teeth at them. Not only that, but everybody makes an observation that there are much better people than this guy. And by the time they wake up and smell the coffee, everybody's already wagging their heads at them. And then they try to fix it real quick. But then before they can even finish what they've started, they die. That is the end result of witches. They are old women that can't be grandmothers even though they've got 7 kids. Just like my mom. They become fathers whose daughters cannot marry, but they can't receive malobolo because they've literally sold their daughters' wombs to a sangoma when they were only 4 or 5 years old. They become cousins who no longer have best friends around them. Their family members, their cousins, at their baby showers, it's empty. They've got people in their life that they can't recognize. No one that was in their life in youth is there because they have literally gone on bazinikeza inhlanhla. Neyinhlanhla zabanye abantu. They've given themselves luck or fortune with other people's fortunes. And the people that they stole from are nowhere to be found in their lives. They are empty in the end. They are like Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took it on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the life of Solomon Grundy. Just useless people, worthless, gathering dust all throughout their lives on earth. They do nothing but destroy and then they die, just like Solomon Grundy. But in the run-up to when Solomon Grundy is still young, he's marrying, being given in marriage. When Solomon Grundy is still young, he's getting promotions into jobs that he did not work for. He is busy knocking colleagues out the way. But later on, curse of the black pearl, everything they eat becomes dust in their mouths. But that's when you rise, if you have waited. Because after suffering, after being persecuted, the God of all grace will give you everything you need, lacking in nothing. You have to trust in Jesus. There's no good thing that happens to witches in the end. No good thing. No good thing. The long-term consequences of their actions. Do you understand? And that's why it's not worth it to make like the guy whose CV gets passed up and so you end up going to a ritualist to get heard and seen. Wait on God. Do not be the guy that buries their talent in the ground and does just enough because now nobody's looking at you, nobody's rewarding you, no one is saying thank you, so you do just enough. No, keep working hard, heartily as unto the Lord. Do not ever consult a spiritist in order to get out of the rut that you are in because the consequences are horrible in the end. Wait on the Lord and he will give you that which neither eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor mind conceived because you waited. Why do you think I've got so many satanic devil worshipping ugly monsters of men that want to marry me? Something that did not down tools. Did not stop working hard. They want it so that they can have some kind of a semblance of meaningfulness in their lives. They've messed up with their first wives, their second wives. They've destroyed the lives of their children. Because they've literally gone on and given the lack fortunes of their daughters and sons to Satan and thrived and became municipal councillors. They become premiers and presidents. They become CEOs of organizations using wombs of their own daughters. And so now they look at a woman that is still strong, thriving, and they're like, you're going to give me meaning again. With you, I'm not going to do witchcraft. That have waited on the Lord for husbands. Quickly. I keep on getting smacked, coming from all different kinds of angles, including this little animal in America, because they want to find their fortune again. They think secret to getting out of the curse, not dead man's chest, but the black pearl. They think I am the thing that's going to lift the curse of the black pearl, that finally when they caress a woman on the face again, it's going to feel good. Instead of empty, like sleeping with a prostitute and feeling hollow afterwards. Bafuna umfazi that still has the wealth of God in them so that they can drain their darkness into her and so usurp all of her glory while giving themselves energy. Vampire. Give themselves satisfaction for 5 seconds so they don't have to feel so empty and barren. They want me high and low to a point of bewitching the living daylights out of my family over and over again. Right now as I'm speaking to you, my mom and my little sister are busy abusing me with domestic because they're under a spell from another spiritist that I don't know, that I can't recognize. He wants to mess up my life so badly that I will eventually, when he starts to send me a direct message, give me accommodate. It's not the guy from America. There's another man all up in my grill. and he is doing the exact same thing. Indoda ethwele nkadimpa tsa bana ba hae ba banyana. A man othwele ngama cousins wakhe, ama relatives, ama family members, ama best friends wakhe wakudala, they're not in his life anymore. He has literally carried so much demonic activity on his back that he's telling himself that I am going to cure him from the curse of the black pearl. I keep getting attracted to me, all these monsters all over the show, and I have to keep on praying and praying and praying while a woman in and of herself, my mom again, I did today because of her own witchcraft. Busy draining me because she's easily used by a kingdom of darkness, causing me to be so miserable, frustrated, and all over again. I gotta keep on dealing with these people falling under curses over and over and over again because they're trying to make me give up. They want me to give up because that's what they did. Bafuna ukuthi mina ngiyothatha my talents and bury them in the ground. Uthwele ngendodakazi yakho, uthwele ngendodana yakho, uthwele ngecousin yakho, ngeauntie, uthwele nkakampa. Yeah, how kata mo bo tlo batla motho mongwe gore a tlo go fa madi a hae wena o ska tlo feel so empty anymore. Yes, like it. Allow me to therefore discourage you from ever turning to the darkness, because these people are they're like minor attracted persons. They keep on trying to fix and through human beings. This little animal, Omonchawo, or that's found my content on YouTube, that's bewitching me so that he can one day successfully DM me. He has not listened to much of my other content, and so he does not know that I already have a little menace in America trying to do the same thing that he's doing. There's some dude in Nigeria that try to do the same thing. I got men that will keep on pursuing me. Do you understand? Kadiklar, trying to come into my life, slide into my DMs, marry me after working for the devil for 10, 20 years, and they will keep on using my family members against me. It's gonna happen on a loop. Long story short, that's what happens when you join the occult. So when who has done your first spell and you have not gone beyond that, understand you have literally hatched a small little snake. Kill it now before you end up a middle-aged man. Musadi oskun. That is consecrated to Jesus, because you thoroughly are trying to use her as something to give you meaning now that you've lost all of yours. Now that you can't collect amalobola your daughters. Now that you cannot come and basically approve a bride for your son. Now that you can no longer enjoy grandchildren. Ngoba ulahle ikamva labantwana bakho bonke. A municipal councillor, to become chief of police, to become the CEO of your company. Now that you cannot literally enjoy the fruit of old age, you are going to literally hassle some innocent virgin-like woman so that she can give you meaning that you lost. All over the show. So if you're a 22-year-old, all frustrated because after graduating with BCom accounting at Wits University, nobody will hire you and now you're working at a call center, do not turn to witchcraft. Do not turn to witchcraft, because I promise you, you are going to end up some middle-aged idiot on a midlife crisis that's going to fall in love with a complete stranger on the internet, or one lawyer, or family, because you will be so used to doing witchcraft. So used that it's going to be nothing at all for you to bewitch a complete stranger online. Nothing. It's going to be nothing. It's not going to be something you're going to even think about twice. You're going to be so used to using medicines, they're willing, they're bodyling, to get what you want in life, that you will easily do something that is so incredibly psychotic when a regular person would think it is when they look at it. But to you, it's business as usual. You will be so used to doing demonic rituals. You will be so used to it that it's not going to be a taboo for you to be sitting where you're sitting as a married man trying to impregnate some innocent woman on the internet because her family doesn't love her. I literally have some idiot that has cast a new spell on my family. And in Lora, he has roofied me. So I will be watered down so he can comfortably slide into my DMs. Don't you dare. However, such little menaces of this nature, thoroughly aware, are gonna keep on flying at me boot prince sabona all the way until I get my apartment. When I started this video, I was wearing some funny, strange colored wig with different makeup. And I was like, yeah, the reason I'm wearing earrings and all this makeup is because the day's gonna arrive when I'm not coming from this shoddy environment. When I am not coming from some filthy, fallen ecosystem. When I'm actually wearing my real mascara instead of an application. When I am actually going out of my way to change my wigs or get cornrows or whatnot, put on a whole entire outfit because I'm a whole thriving human being again. I'm looking forward to a future. And I'm looking forward to that future precisely because I trust Jesus to get me from under the feet that are chilling on my chest. Babaloi that have told themselves, how's that Gotola interview ever again, Karabo? You're not gonna ever make money ever again, Karabo. They try to get me to give up. Nobody is ever gonna love you, Karabo. So just give up. So I wore a wig to let them know that it's only the beginning, randos. I'm gonna be rocking more wigs, and this time around, my background is not gonna be this thing that you underestimate to a point where, as a complete stranger on the internet, you who are attracted to little people that are struggling can cause you to curse a woman hoping that you can make her a mistress that'll give you a baby, because you've been made to fetishize all the glory of goodness on earth to a point of trying to pervert it up. You've been made such a spiritual pervert and a spiritual psychopath that everything that is good, wholesome, neat, and beautiful and glorious, you just want to pervert it. All they become are these perverts later on that want to destroy everything good, because every good thing in them, by Batilemo Moon, they have buried all of their talents and their goodness in the ground. And so everybody that still has life blood in them have not been emptied by the curse of the black pearl. They try to exsanguinate all that blood out of them. That have sacrificed mothers, fathers. They've got so much blood on their hands. They have gotten wealth through killing siblings. They're the last remaining relative. There are people who batwele so heavy, guys, that babulele wonke umuntu in their immediate family. They're the only ones remaining. Oh, who says one brother? And that brother is only alive because either they are born again or for whatever reason the Lord will not allow them to sacrifice them. There are people that have lain waste entire families. I have a cousin that today, if her witchcraft had worked, she would only be left limmewa high because she tried to sacrifice her dad and her sister. I have a cousin that today would have caused the bereavement of his older sister because he tried to sacrifice one of her children. If I did not stand in the gap for them. But and their conscience is seared, do you understand? And all they have left in the end is the observation of everybody else's glory, and they try to take it. So I am literally trying to discourage people from ever starting witchcraft. And if you've started, stop now, because the consequences are dire in the future. If you have killed a family member, stop now, because you're going to kill 10 more just to uphold your riches. And if you are thinking about doing it, don't you dare, because you're going to finally become that chartered accountant with a degree from WITS or Sebenzako call center. You'll finally become the CA, fine, but not before first sacrificing the womb of a child inside the womb of your baby mama, that daughter of which, when you are now 45 and at 22, when a man wants to propose marriage to her, suddenly gets some wicked nightmare that makes him run 10,000 kilometers in the opposite direction because because when in order to become a chartered accountant, you had to give away literally a baby inside the womb of your baby mama. It's not worth it to become a chartered accountant, all in the name of success and prosperity, at the expense of your legacy, at the expense of that which is really meaningful. Money is not a motivator. In the end, you learn that the hard way, guys. It's not. So allow yourself to work on that which makes sense, that which is meaningful. Find meaningful things to do. Serve in your local community. Start a legacy. Build something that matters, even if it's a non-profit, because the reward that you feel for the successful completion of that project exceeds in its power to motivate you to do better in the future. Money, it really does. It's a whole theory. Go read up on it. Go read it up. I'm not coming up with stuff even from the Bible. This is secular textbook knowledge on motivation. Go and read up theories of motivation. You will understand that money is not a motivator, so therefore it doesn't have power to keep a person working hard. It does not have power to keep a person thriving and pushing. Just increasing a salary is not enough to motivate a person to work hard on the job. Buying a woman presents is not enough to make her good to you as a husband. All of y'all who are busy dating slay queens know that. It still leaves a lot to be desired. Money is not a motivator. Money is just an enabler. It's an enabler. And if you cannot be enabled right now, go to the one who is the enabler, who is Jesus, and he will ultimately enable you to get to a place of contentment without it while he prepares it for you in the future. He knows that you need these things that the pagans need. He knows that you need money. He knows you need clothes on your body and food. But you must first seek the kingdom and its righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. Even the pagans need these things. God knows you need money, so he's not going to keep it away from you indefinitely. But you gotta wait on him to bring it into your life in his way that's not gonna make you guilty and have the blood of 10 of your cousins on your hands. They can't have children. You're the only sibling among all of your siblings. What kind of rubbish is that? You don't want that. You don't want that. Give your life to Jesus Christ. I promise you, there is nothing that pays in the end with witchcraft. Do not be deceived by the glory of youth. When you're still 20, 30, Yeah, no, you will keep on being an animal because but when your beauty starts to fade, you start to need meaning now. You start to need to be able to look into the eyes of somebody that looks like you, umntwana. You start to need to have grandchildren that are going to make sense. You start wanting to say, Mina, this is my sconi. This is my, what do you call this thing? My granddaughter. You start wanting for the silver hairs on your head to be able to account for grandchildren in your arms for these silver hairs. Like, you gotta have something to show for gray hair, for crying out loud. Witches never get that. It's what you must understand. In the end, it does not pay. They sacrifice bonke abantu bakibo. Some of them literally lay waste entire family members. Bonke. Extended and immediate. Kuyashona nje emgaqweni. You know how in the black community there are families that keep on having people that die one after the other. You ask yourself, family. Some of them get to becoming CEOs while all of their siblings are scanning groceries at Pick and Pay. Go obvious, Lenja, itwel. Go obvious. And only on that day are they trying to stop? You will find them busy for the cousin. They will keep on buying the caskets at the funerals of people they've sacrificed. They spend a lot of money on people whose prospects they have stolen. They will keep on giving you freebies because you can't buy your own anything, given that that's their reaction to what do you call this? It's not worth it. You don't want to become that person. You don't want to bury your talent in the ground first and foremost, and you also do not want to sit around njefela. You also don't want to be the one who steals people's talents. You don't want to be the one through whom people are endured through offenses, because there is a great woe, WOE, that comes to such people. So do not allow your condemnation by being the one through whom offenses come, and also do not allow your own condemnation by being the one that's going to turn like a door turns on its hinges on your bed, because you've been made lazy by the fact that everything you tried doesn't work out. It's not worth it. I'm signing out in Christ's name. I hope you've been edified, Cran K. Tomorrow I might rock up with an actual pink wig. Why? Because that's what God does for those who what? Wait for him. Watch the space.